Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Lsan, and I'm Senior Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Investor Relations at Kognitiv. For those of you that might not be familiar, Kognitiv helps brands build deeper, more meaningful connections with their customers through our intelligent, AI-native customer loyalty, intelligence, and activation solutions. And today, I'm speaking with someone who has a lot of experience cultivating long-lasting customer relationships. That would be Sarah McCaul, Senior Manager of Loyalty and Promotions at Hallmark. I'm really proud to say that we've been partnering with Hallmark for over 30 years, and I'm really excited to get Sarah's take on how the company is staying relevant with customers yesterday and today. So we're streaming live right now, but we will be recording the session and sharing the replay on Kognitiv's LinkedIn and YouTube channels for anybody that might miss it. But let's dive right in. So Sarah, I'd love to start by learning more about you and what you do at Hallmark.
Okay, well, hi. Hi, everybody. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. As Lsan said, I'm Sarah McCaul. I've been at Hallmark coming up on 6 years. I have had quite a ride, wearing lots of different hats over my tenure here. And I actually started out on the brand and retail side, managing internal, external creative agencies and working through seasonal and everyday campaigns. But then I moved into a role where I got the opportunity to lead our global brand development. So essentially working across all our global functional teams, from product merchants to trends forecasters to creative, everywhere in between, essentially create our company North Star from a playbook brand messaging perspective. And we had recently gone through a reorg, and teams had shifted from operating more, siloed to now kind of being all on one team. And at the end of the day, we were all serving the same customer. So it was a really thrilling experience to get to mold and to shape what that whole process was and the output could be. And we're still beating to the drum of those strategies we put in place. So it's fun to get to live that out now in my current role. And then I actually had a brief stint in go-to-market product innovation, where I had the chance to really think blue sky and budget free about all the various ways Hallmark could show up to our consumers. And then I love blue sky thinking. I just have to say it's a super big rush. So, but during that time, I got my shoulder tapped, and this was in 2022, and duty called, so to say, to bring me back into the marketing fold, which has led me into the role I'm in today. And so my role today, I manage the day-to-day operations and strategy for the Crown Rewards loyalty program, which has been around, not the entire tenure of our relationship with Kognitiv, but quite a lot. For 40 years, we've been around. And so I also oversee the promotions and offer strategy across the omnichannel retail landscape. And so, but before my time though at Hallmark, I was in the agency world. I had various account roles, focusing primarily on the health and medical marketing clients. And so a lot of those clients we had were very B2B. And so while the work was super rewarding, I would be lying if I said I wasn't getting a joy out of working in the B2C space now. But yeah, all these experiences have given me a lot of context and insight that have kind of impacted where I am today and how I work and lead.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, that B2C context is so much more responsive and like in the moment than B2B is sometimes. So I completely understand the shift and why you came back to this. And I agree. I think your history at Hallmark, all the different hats you've worn, are all so valuable, I'm sure, in informing your loyalty strategy and thinking about your customers and what role Hallmark plays. So to get to that, let's first start by talking a little bit about Hallmark. I think it's probably safe to assume that when you say Hallmark, most people are familiar with the brand, right? Like if you were to ask the average adult in America, they would probably, or Canada, they would probably know what we're talking about. And I know my head immediately goes to greeting cards and like shelves of pretty little ornaments and figurines. But the company, I think, is a lot more than that. So tell us a bit about who Hallmark is today.
Okay, well, yes. I mean, I think all of us who don't work at Hallmark, of course, have super varying degrees of who the brand is, what they offer. So a lot of people like you, kind of depending on the part of the world even that you're in, or the age group you're in, or what brand exposure you have to us, you may think of us as cards. You may think of us as Christmas movies. You may think of us because you're one of our ornament fans or a collector, and know us because you get all your fan gear from us, hopefully. But kind of whatever your knowledge zone is, I'll just share a couple quick facts. The biggest one being we are a very tenured brand. So Hallmark was founded in 1910. So we're just shy of 115 years old. And in that time, we've had a ton of transformation, as you can imagine, as an organization. But ultimately, the core business today does still remain centered around some pretty key products. So the greeting cards, which we talked about, but also gift wrap, stationery, ornaments, and gifts. And our Hallmark Gold Crown stores. So you may have seen those or have heard of those. That is what is featuring kind of our largest selection of products. So we have our greeting cards there, our gift wrap, our keepsake ornaments. But actually, most of our products now are also available online at hallmark.com. But at the core, so the Hallmark brand business, that's really who we are. We're continuing to be innate in kind of those couple of different product categories I mentioned. But we also have Hallmark Media. So Hallmark Media operates 3 cable networks in the United States. And you may or may not have heard of those depending on where you live, but it's Hallmark Channel, Hallmark Mystery, and then Hallmark Family. So those are the 3 cable networks, but we also have an SVOD platform, so a streaming service, and it's called Hallmark Movies Now. And then one of the fun facts I loved when coming here, because I had no idea, is that Hallmark actually owns Crayola. I mean, talk about a perfect marriage of both brands. So
Yeah.
there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of really exciting kind of, like, as you mentioned before, brand recognition across the landscape of what Hallmark considers, its survey of ownership. But yeah, at the broadest level, that's who Hallmark is, and Hallmark continues to be. But as I mentioned a moment ago, the transformation that the company has gone through, many of which we are really living right now in a really, really big one. We're living in, I'd say, the age of digital transformation, which many brands have been living in for some time. But I think for our brand specifically, probably the past decade, we've really been in this kind of renaissance phase of bringing the modernization to everything that we do. And specifically the past 3 years, which is why my current role has been extra exciting, is just the pace at which we're really starting to now be able to execute a lot of the ideas that were, again, simply little ideas foundationally years and years ago. But not just things like, the rise of the web or presence of hallmark.com, like I kind of mentioned, but we launched an app last summer called Hallmark Cards Now. And that's been the focus of that ever evolving modernization of greeting cards and one-to-one sending. So not only is our tech evolving, but our product stack has been evolving with it, which has been really interesting. And then just a little tidbit here too, again, to talk about the landscape of who you might know Hallmark to be and who we really are aiming to be, if you will, is I'll call out 2 product launches most recently. So especially in the greeting card space, we have a lot of innovation that is always taking place. But the first of which I'll just call out, we have these new custom greeting cards. So either via the web or on the Hallmark Cards Now app, you can search for any kind of variety of card templates that you might want, and you can customize it to your liking. However, so you can add pictures, you can decide what fonts you might want to use or color code, whatever, add decals. You can do all that digitally now in the palm of your hand, and we'll even mail the card to your recipient for free from inside the app or on the web. And then it's just really exciting to be able to be a part of that. And then the second idea is our latest partnership with Venmo. So Venmo, if you know it or not, it's one of the most popular social payment platforms in the world. We now have a line of Hallmark and Venmo greeting cards in which you can digitally send money via a physical greeting card. So again, just 2 examples there that I think nicely demonstrate how we're really dreaming up, new ways to marry that tangible and physical formats that people know and they love us for, but with more digital access points and tools that are helping us bridge some of those barriers that have come, because the consumer landscape is ever evolving, as we know. So.
I mean, you've diversified hugely, right? From what I understood maybe 10 years ago, Hallmark to be, and I know even just when I joined Kognitiv and was getting to know our client roster a bit better and started poking into everything that Hallmark does today, I had no idea at that point that, Crayola was one of your brands, right? I just kind of always thought of Crayola as this brand. If it was owned by somebody, it was probably by a children's company or something like that. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for education, and I'm really excited by the customizable greeting cards that you just mentioned. My daughter she's 5, she loves making cards by hand for friends. And I feel like in the coming years, as she gets a bit more tech savvy, that's going to be really fun for her to be able to make like printed real cards come to life. Um, So, everything you say really, I think, highlights the interesting position that you're in as Hallmark, right? On the one hand, you have this incredible brand recognition, this name that is just immediately recognized through whatever the individual's entry point to the brand might have been. But on the other hand, there might be a lot of misunderstanding or even underestimation of everything that you can offer consumers today and how you can fit into their life in 2024. So if we think about that and as you refer to the ever-changing consumer landscape and how it's changed over the last few decades, what does that mean for Hallmark and your current customer base?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. The examples that I just shared, those couple of new product launches, one of or several of many, I'd say, but those are really demonstrating how our product stack has evolved. But that's really in direct response to combating those barriers to sending a greeting card, in which we've done a ton of research on to dissect what's been happening to the greeting card landscape specifically, over the past decade or so. And it's no surprise to us that the landscape has changed. I mean, as a 100-plus-year-old company, I mean, we have the honor of being able to say we're a brand that your grandparents knew, and there aren't many brands that can say that these days. But with that does come tough challenges, as you said. And so one of those has been, I'd say, to reintroduce yourself to the new generation. And while that might be super easy of an exercise for some brands, I mean, I think what we still need to be super mindful of is the need for our brand to also be resonant to all the generations that knew us before, so that legacy continues to have a really important, I guess you can just say connection to the past, right? By still being able to be relevant for the future. But I think it's a slippery slope, in my opinion, to kind of reinvent too drastically and ultimately lose who you are as a brand. I mean, kind of harkening back to some of the old role at Hallmark that I had, but I think that's why we've been uniquely sort of up to the task to pave the way for building modern means of creating loyalty through a brand. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but kind of alluded to it. The lion's share of our customers have been with us for a very long time, and they have stayed because our products have relevance to them at arguably all of the milestones and moments of their life. So, I mean, Hallmark's been able to evolve in such a way that I think is so interesting to be there for all of life's moments, like for
Mhm.
both those deeply rooted consumers that have known us for a long time, but also have a reason to be able to show up as a brand for those new consumers too. So think like everything from birth to birthdays. And of course, all those in betweens like graduation, weddings, holidays. I mean, all the things. And so our goal, though, with everything that we do is to help you be able to see how Hallmark can play a role in your life. And others may see us as a very traditional brand, but as I said, I think we're building on that legacy in exciting ways and new ways. And we're not just leaning into that tradition, but I think we're reinventing it as we go along. And so I don't believe I mentioned this just yet, but it's a good segue. I think our newest brand, Anthem, and you've probably seen it. Hopefully, you've seen it around. It's starting to come a little bit more into the fold of all the things that we do. But it's called Be There, and it's however, whenever, forever, and that feels right, to lean into and own for us, because at the core, we sell products that have legacy and meaning and longevity, and again, tied to those critical moments in people's lives. So I think, we've just had a unique way of being able to be there because of our product offering, which I do feel has been very valuable for us.
No, 100%. And that anthem, that tagline is great. The be there, however, whenever, forever. I think it really speaks to staying relevant in customers' lives. And like you said, right, the customers that have been with you for decades and the new customers that may not exactly know who you are and everything that you can offer them. They just think about, the cards they received from their parents or their grandparents, maybe.
Right.
Um, and in that anthem, if we think about that last one, forever, right? Like that's really getting to the heart of retention and building that coveted lifelong loyalty. But it's not easy. It's not as it's easier said than done. So
Mhm.
if you're thinking about yourself, a company like Hallmark, the rich history that you talked about, but also the transformation that you've gone through, and then at the same time thinking about consumer behavior and how that's changed over the decades, like how are you keeping customers engaged? I know you've got your products and you've really diversified your product set to do that, but if you're thinking about newer customers or those longtime customers, how are you making sure that they remain engaged and that you are building that lifelong loyalty? How are you evolving your relationship with them as they change, as their lives change, and in your case, as Hallmark today has changed from Hallmark of yesterday. How are you bringing customers along for that ride and for that evolution?
Love these questions. It's so important, and every brand has their own version of these challenges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's no small feat. So just to kind of tack on to the questions there, the first one kind of being how do we keep customers engaged, more that retention piece. So, I mean, ultimately, like you said, yeah, no small feat to keep consumers engaged, but the Crown Rewards program, as I mentioned, we have a really offer centric program. So whether you are new to that program or you've been in the program for a while, what is really wonderful about it is it's a bit cyclical. So I think that has helped us with natural retention, in that we have a pretty well known kind of group of events throughout the year, loyalty events throughout the year, whether it be our ornament debut or premiere events. Those happen in July and October, or our Crown Rewards Appreciation Week that happens in August. I mean, these events have super rich bonus point earning opportunities, and those are a pinnacle for us. But we also have a ton of always ongoing offers and promotions that are part of the strategy. So some are tied to like product categories to help drive purchase. So think of one example I can think of is just we have this always on offer that's, buy 3 of our mini cards for only $5, or buy 8 of them for $10. And that is an offer that's exclusively available only to Crown Rewards members. So again, driving that exclusivity with the loyalty program here has been pretty successful for us as well. But then also just, my goodness, the cachet of the really pinnacle offer that we have, which is called Free Card Monthly. That's been tried and true offer for us for the program for many years. And really what it is kind of just like it says in the title. It's the ability, one time per month, we give a coupon to all of our Crown Rewards members that has this in-store only offer to come in and pick up a card for free. And what has been great about the way that we do that is it's through the ability, we do deliver it via email, but we have, the delivery of it also through other mechanisms like direct mail, but they also could go to their dashboard and just see that offer there. But it's so like trained in all of these consumers that, I mean, the first of the month, they are there and they're there to pick up that card. But we also have a great like kind of 1-2 punch with the reminder flow with the journeys that we have, the consumer journeys and email. And so the 7-day window before that expired month happens or that coupon is gone, we're reminding them, and we're kind of hitting that pretty hard. And of course, as you can imagine, we see an excellent uptick in that. So I think that's been, again, several things that are just working very well for us in our favor. But we also have offers that are dollar based. So unique. We call it, there's a variety of different ways. I won't get into all the complexities of our program, but we call them bonus dollars in some cases, where those are opportunities to drive sales during really specific times throughout the year. So think about Valentine's Day, and we want to give them a $2 or maybe a $5 bonus with a super short redemption window in hopes for us to, drive those trips and those transactions during that window of time. All very helpful, great retention efforts for us that have been, again, proven time and time again. But then, also, I think you mentioned a little like, how do you keep new people engaged? But the brand for or I guess you call it the hook for coming in and joining new has been also a really tentpole thing for us. So if you don't know Crown Rewards and you want to become a member, you can do so in store or you can go online. But that's tied to the offer that we have that we kind of hook you in on. And that's $5 off of your $10 purchase. And you get that coupon delivered to you upon signing up. So it's very incentivizing. And you also, as I mentioned, that Free Card Monthly program, you also, if you sign up in store right then on that day, you can participate right then and there in the Free Card Monthly program and kind of leave with a free card. So again, lots of things that are just sort of built into the ecosystem of our program that have helped us with that retention and stickiness.
Mhm.
Then kind of going to your other piece, which I think was more around the evolution of the relationship with customers and how we're doing that. And goodness, it's complicated. I mean, I've been in this role just shy of 2 years and learning so much all the time about the data and how we're using the data. And that's why I'm saying that now, because that's really the key way we've been able to evolve our relationship with customers. It all comes back to data. And actually, our first party data has really been the wealth of knowledge for us to do all the things that I mentioned a couple of times. But we leverage data to help drive behavior. So we do a lot of content and offer targeting through email or direct mail. And we also use SMS and then most recently mobile push. those are highly targeted offers a lot of times, based on what data points we might have on the various consumers that we have. And through that, we can create target segments in countless ways, like a lot of different ways to help push whatever messaging priority or sales priority we might have. So just an example, like think about sending a targeted offer to incentivize customers to try our new product. Like I mentioned, the Venmo and Hallmark card, right? We have been able to utilize our Crown Rewards program to say, hey, buy this, get this, and that's been another kind of good example of how to evolve alongside them. But that purchase history too, and recognizing the fact that the data depth that we have helps us better understand the consumer and what they are interested in, and be able to feed them offers of more personalized fashion, because we know that they're card senders or we know that they're ornament buyers, right? Like trying to really target the experiences to make sure that it's feeding what they want, right? And a specific example I'll target is a campaign that we have called "Win with the When." Who would have thought you'd have so many W's in a thing? Win with the when, and it is a targeting segmentation campaign at the root. And we use the data that I mentioned, our rich first party data from purchase behavior, to be able to target and segment around these bigger milestones. So think about an anniversary or a birthday. And what we can do from that is recognize, oh, this consumer made a purchase last year at this same time alongside the category of birthday or alongside the category of anniversary. So they might have that same need again this year. So on top of that, we kind of incentivize not only the content and feed them products that they might recommend to them to be interested in, but also can double up or two punch that with an offer that might be, again, a bonus or whatever it might be, to be able to incentivize them to actually make that transaction. So and actually another lever on that, which goes back to a little bit of our product stack, which is very interesting to see, is on top of all the win with the when, we've also been able to think about different ways to enable tools that are digitally based to help consumers do that on their own, give them a little more control to be able to remind themselves maybe about things, but allow us to be the tool that helps them do that. So one of the things that we launched, I think it might have been 2 or 3 years ago now, and it's sort of slowly becoming a bigger thing that we are focusing on because it was in beta for so long. It's called Reminders. And it's a thing in which people can actually, like, quite literally create a reminder for themselves inside of our Hallmark system of a significant event. So they could, say, oh, it's John's birthday or my, anniversary. And that reminder, actually, once it's set up, it triggers a push notification at the right time that they want to be reminded, because they do have to say when they want to be reminded of something. And what happens with that is, like, of course, you can see, like, the pathway there to purchase, right? Which is, of course, what we all want. But taking it a step further, we've also piled on incentives to that to get them to be interested in actually trying it and seeing if it works for them. So again, saying, hey, try out reminders and we'll give you 100 bonus points, like things like that we've been able to do with Kognitiv's help, which has been great. So yeah, it's been very interesting. But I think the last part of your question was a little more about how are we bringing now customers along as Hallmark evolves. And that one's so interesting because, I mean, having started as a brick and mortar store and evolving to, the omnichannel company we're aiming to be today, it's, pretty important that we still provide the same level of that, like, frictionless, convenient, personalized interaction as brands that were, online from the start, or maybe don't have that brick and mortar base. And so we've been able, I think, to adapt technologies to keep up, sure, but I don't think what we've actually lost, though, has been the fact that we have deep value in our analog channels. And I think a lot of brands, I would hope, would say the same thing, but I really know we play that out 100%, and we have a lot to back it up. I mean, if you want to understand the persona of the Hallmark brand, our store associates is kind of where it starts. I mean, they embody that wholeheartedly, and they are really unmatched in the care and support that they give customers. So I like to say it's kind of one of our little superpowers is our customer folks, and even our customer care associates. When you call in and have an issue, I mean, it is unparalleled, like top notch. And But how we bring customers along with us has really provided kind of both opportunities and challenges, which we talked about a little bit, being an older company. So yeah, we have the benefit of long-term data and like great in-person touch points, but that data can be pretty fragmented or incomplete because of how long the data's been alive, if you will. So think it's like we don't have a lot of birthdays for everybody on file, and we don't have email addresses for everyone or mobile numbers. And so not having these touch points actually has really limited our ability to be able to fully engage with the consumers, kind of back to our anthem in that however and wherever kind of lane. But we know that these data gaps exist, and so our efforts are to bridge those, and those have been pretty important for us to evolve.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you covered a lot there. When you were talking about both the reminder option and then the when, where, with, when. Did I get that right?
When, yeah, yeah.
The thing that came to mind for me was that, you're not only providing people with incentives or, helping to build those loyal, long-lasting relationships, but you might be helping to avoid some fights, right? Somebody's going to get a notification for, oh, I got to get something for this anniversary or this birthday. So, you might be changing some lives here at the same time, which I love. And I think it speaks to how personalization really needs to go beyond just that transactional thing. I know you buy this, I'm going to try to add this onto there. And you
Yeah.
really need to add value to somebody's life
Yes.
beyond just, dollars or rewards or points. And it's very clear that Hallmark understands that and is doing that. There's a couple of threads I kind of want to pull on from everything that you said. You talked about the importance of data, and I might be biased working at Kognitiv, where we are in the business of data and extracting valuable, actionable insights and intelligence. But I think a lot of what you're talking about really requires a solid data and intelligence strategy so that you do understand your customers and you can serve them beyond kind of the transactions. And then at the same time, when you talked about the superpower that is your in-store experiences, it's clear you're doing a lot to try to bridge those analog and digital experiences for your customers, and you understand the importance of maintaining those in-store or analog experiences. But what I find interesting about that is, I think you talk to most brands and they understand that building seamless omnichannel engagement is something that is important. It's like a strategic imperative to deliver a positive customer experience. But for Hallmark, because of your customer base, because of how long they've been with you, and because of how many of them predominantly engage in store, it's sort of a different type of a business imperative to resolve that in-store and online behavior, and to also
Mhm.
help motivate customers to move online and share some of their data with you digitally so that you can fill those gaps for those longtime customers that you have. So can you talk a bit about that, how you're doing that, how you're bridging that in-store and online gap, and how that relates to your data strategy, how you're leveraging the tools that you might be leveraging to bridge those gaps.
Definitely. I mean, as we said, retention's pretty critical component of the consumer loyalty life cycle. So I do feel we have a unparalleled approach in how we keep consumers retained, and that's, as I said, because of the data at the center. So utilizing that data, yes. I mean, we're doing a lot to leverage our data. We have it's actually been very cost effective for us with the shrinking budgets, and so many of us looking to do more with less, but it's a challenge we're no stranger to. But to answer the question, we, yes, our very rich first party data, we have focused a lot of our tactics on striving to make our current loyal customers even more valuable. So a bit more on the retain versus the acquire to really extend that lifetime value every chance we can. And one of the ways we've been able to do this is because we've been able to be more top of mind to them in more communications channels at the right times for their needs. So kind of moving, as we've continued to say throughout this morning, like moving to that more omnipresent, omni-channel strategy has been key. But I mentioned a little bit earlier about our digital transformation, which I think is a nice come around to where we're at in this conversation today, because through that, we've been able to really shift engagement online where we need to for the consumers that maybe don't have a store near them, or maybe they do just favor online shopping. But I believe it is not the existing, lack of the one-to-one in-store connection, because that is still very strong for us. So we focused efforts, I'd say, like on amplifying the existing touch points as well as like expanding the means to which we communicate with them. But as I said a moment ago, in order to do this for us, it has started with having like a complete consumer profile. And I'm sure other brands might be in a similar boat if they've been around for a minute. Like if you started in the print days and most of your customer data attributes revolve around postal, welcome to the club, right? This is where we've been. So when we kind of first started on this journey years ago, we had really no email addresses. I mean, SMS wasn't even a thing. But at this time, we have really most of our consumers' home addresses now, which you think, awesome. But I mean, direct mail, so expensive, super expensive channel. But like the next pillar down, email, we have right now about half as many email addresses, which is still a great improvement to where we were years ago. But then we take SMS. I mean, we have probably a tenth of the SMS, phone numbers that we have of email. So when you think about the balance, clearly it's not very balanced right now with all those data attributes. But when I think about that might be normal for a brand of our age. But what we found is that when we have all those attributes on file for a person, the postal, the email, the mobile, those consumers are spending 2.5 times what other consumers are spending with us annually. So we were like, oh my goodness, there is something here that it's not like our fault that we were missing out on, right? But now that we're in this place of awareness of it, there's double down efforts to try to combat that and really just build the bridges to help fill those data gaps. So we've been working hard to implement ways to help us complete those consumer attributes. And as I said, having those additional data points, does translate to revenue. So all this talk of data capture, long time coming. I mean, there had been and there have been a ton of technology dependencies and various roadmaps planned over the years to get all the systems ready to ingest the new data fields. I mean, I think that's one of the things people often forget is you have a lot of varying systems that have to really work collaboratively for everything to work the way you want and for your data to be able to work the way you intend it to work. And so we were really in that place for a while and we're coming out of it now. But think things like robustifying your POS systems and improving the dashboards on our website to make it easy for consumers to be able to complete their profiles on their own. But kind of now that we're like here and tech is working to our advantage, we have really been on the upswing, I'd say, to be able to not only, start to be okay asking for those data points and being able to have the right experience for them to fulfill them. But also it's helped us identify the consumer segments that we want to market to and kind of field those requests to help complete their profiles. And then kind of, as I mentioned before, using the program, the Crown Rewards program, to incent them to add those data attributes, right? Because that's only going to be valuable to us if we have them. So things like, opting into mobile push and we'll give you 300 bonus points, things like that. So from a marketing lens, we're really using those tactics that I mentioned to help push those messages to kind of treat it more like a campaign. And then honestly, believe it or not, one of the biggest tools though, as we talk about with the data and the ingesting of the, all the complexities with tech, guess what the most important group has been in getting these data profile points completed? The in-store associates.
Your CRM team?
No, the associates, store associates.
Oh, wow.
Like crazy, like it's amazing that the consumers go into the store and the fact that that person can look up, oh, I see that you don't have your email address, or I see that you don't have your SMS. I mean, it's such a nice personalized way of being able to do that. So I just say that to not discount, the value that your associates and whatever experiences you might have to be able to pull from an analogy of having the importance of both the digital means and the analog means has been very valuable for us.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything that you've just said, what it really highlights is that the power of omnichannel is not that you can hit everybody on all channels at all times, right? It's that, where the power lies within that omnichannel experience is going to differ for every business. So as you said, for your longstanding customers, that in-store part of that is critical, but it's also going to differ for different customers. So even, it's a really nice little mini case study you've got right there where the customers for whom you've been able to fill this additional data in, how much more valuable they are. And that's probably because you're able to meet them wherever they're at, and you're able to kind of understand their preferences and deliver the different kinds of messages and content how they prefer and where they want. And again, this is me being biased, thinking about, what we at Kognitiv do, right? Because, our loyalty and MarTech solutions are meant to be omni-channel and omni-audience. So, we obviously agree wholeheartedly about, more data and more touch points are better, because then you can better serve the customer in the way that they want to be served. I think it also, filling in those data gaps and getting a more comprehensive picture of your customers helps you to better understand how to incentivize them and reward them at the right time based on based on their behavior, both so that they receive timely, relevant experiences, but also for yourself, so that as a brand, you're not spending your promotions budget where it's not needed.
Mhm.
So I think, it sounds like the transformation that you've made is really helping to drive all of those points home, which is amazing to see. But going back to an earlier comment that you made, right, and we've been talking about it throughout, is the changing customer landscape. One significant change, obviously, that you've experienced at Hallmark, especially with the rise of digital marketing over the past 25 years, is the increased expectation for personalized experiences, right? Especially from brands that customers are loyal to and that they engage with repeatedly. It's clear that you, at Hallmark, are committed to using your customers' data to give them those positive and relevant experiences. And very self-servingly, I'm curious what kind of technology and tools you're using to do that, to wrangle that data, get the insights that are useful to then deliver meaningful, relevant experiences.
It's a good question. I mean, well, we're doing some pretty interesting things, as I kind of alluded to, with SMS and mobile push, sort of
Mhm.
mirroring what we know from a consumer behavior standpoint, and better pinpoint when they might have a particular need, and kind of serve up that bonus dollar offer or time sensitive offer of another type, maybe to drive that urgency. Also, our consumer models and targeting are primarily homegrown solutions. So I know not every company has really intelligent insights and analytics folks on staff, but we are really honored that we do. So a lot of the times we are digging into the performance data across various campaigns through our loyalty platform provider, who just happens to be Kognitiv. But then we are layering on top of that our consumer models from our insights and analytics teams to help us create the best segmentations and targets to reach with the
Mhm.
message or offer that we want to tout. So we're really customer centric, though, I'd say, with both our strategy and our tools. I mean, we've also done a lot of research for, of course, a lot of times, but more so the past couple of years, as we've been thinking about, an app is coming, or we want to modify our dashboard, things like that. And we've seen that consumers, they want more control over their benefits. So, for example, they want to be able to convert their points when they want, and so we've tried to empower consumers to help do this themselves. And so, because of that, modified our online dashboard experience to center around, making the act of converting your points easier. So things like that. And then another example earlier, I know we talked about Win with the When campaign. That, yes, that has been successful for us, but email in general is where we continue to find a lot of value. I mean, we have a lot of consumer journeys we've built throughout the years. I mean, everything from welcome journey flows to lapsed flows, pre-churn, getting abandoned carters to come back and finish their shopping. And with every one of those, we're thinking about the incentive and the offer strategy that's gonna best drive behavior. I mean, recently our team right now is kind of working through the refinement, I'd say, of our current journeys and approach to think about that more thoroughly. I think it's really easy with so many priorities for some brands to just say, "Hey, this is working. Let's sort of set it and forget it." And that's what I really don't want to see happen with our journeys, because they're so important to retention. But other tactics, I mentioned SMS, but MMS is also really cool, and we've seen some great success there to marry like the targeted offer with more the product image or gift to give a little bit more illustration to that one-to-one communication. And I mentioned mobile push earlier, but that one is really the most new to us and kind of the untapped potential, if you will. But we do use a mobile measurement platform. I think the one we use is called AppsFlyer, and that's been deeply helpful to be able to follow a customer journey, through the time of login to checkout, and really have all those data points to help us understand, hey, are there areas they're getting stuck in the journey where we might need to iterate or refine the design? So, the thing that I'm laughing only because I try to live this out, but it's not so easy, is at Hallmark, we like to say we're pioneers and not perfectionists. So charting these new paths like the app and things like this for us, what has been really a blessing is we haven't been afraid to test and learn. And I also think that's a really important thing for other brands, is just to not be afraid to learn and sort of fail forward if you have to. I mean, no matter what, you're going to learn. You're going to learn from the experience and kind of take it into your next project or initiative.
I think that's a great piece of advice. I think that, risk mitigation often suppresses innovation
Yeah.
and then you become stagnant. So, putting like, it feels like it's this massive risk, but if you have taken the time to really build that brand equity with your customers and have them trust you, then even a small misstep, I think, is forgivable as you learn and grow together. So
Yeah.
I love that. And I mean, I definitely want to keep having some conversations with you because I think some of our, the way that you guys are evolving and everything you're saying about journeys, I feel like some of our newer AI native insights and activation tools could be a really nice complement to
Yeah.
foundational loyalty program you already have right now. Um,
Absolutely.
I mean, what's evident in everything that you're saying is that Hallmark is as committed as ever to serving your customers in the moments that matter, right? And I think that you've just really taken that core value and expanded it to be applicable in today's world. So can you tell us a little bit about what's next for Hallmark and what customers can expect to see from you?
Oh, there's so much going on as always, and it's really exciting. I can and I can't. One thing I will share, and we talked a lot about this app, Hallmark Cards Now, which launched last summer. Today, it's very product centric, but later this summer, we are going to be launching the Crown Rewards dashboard experience in that app. So I am super excited about that. Our team has been working very hard on that one, but right now it's iOS only. Right now, Android is on the way. Don't worry. But if
I'm an
you're a
Android user, so I'll be waiting.
Perfect. So if you're a Crown Rewards member, I mean, you'll be pleased to know it'll have all your coupons accessible, on the palm of your hand. You'll be able to, have that point of sale experience be even more amazing. You can convert your points directly from there. So much goodness coming out. Shameless plug too. I know we talked about this a lot, but if you are not a Crown Rewards member, I think now is the time to join, right? Wouldn't you say?
I think
Um,
so. I mean, you've made a very compelling case.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you can go to your local Gold Crown store and an associate can help you do that, or you can go to hallmark.com and you will, yes, get this $5 off 10 coupon if you do so, as well as the free card monthly if you were to do it in store. So lots of reasons to do that right now, and also there's a good time. Right now is a good time to join the program. We have a lot of fun and new incentives that we're working and cooking up. So not going to tell you about them yet, but join us and you will see. But yeah, lots of other things in the works for our brand and total, which are, again, a super fun time to be a part of the organization. And we are just very excited to have you all see what we're working on. And yeah, keep a lookout for us.
Amazing. That all sounds really great. And I'll be paying attention. Well, I think that's a great place to end today's conversation, even though there's so many nuggets that you dropped that I'd love to expand on. Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today and to share with our audience. To everyone watching this live or to those who might catch the replay, thanks for joining us. As Sarah said, if you haven't already, make sure to join the Crown Rewards loyalty program. You can visit hallmark.com to learn more and join that program. And if you are a marketer that could benefit from intelligent and easy use and automated loyalty insights and activation solutions, make sure to come and visit us at kognitiv.com. That's KOGNITIV to learn more about what we offer, about our solutions, and to contact us. So with that, thanks again, Sarah. Thanks, everyone. And hopefully we'll see you next time.